Charlie Brooker is back again with season 7 of his dystopian sci-fi cautionary tale dark comedy series. Whew, that's a lot. Black Mirror. We got 6 episodes, which also includes a follow-up to the wildly popular episode USS Callister. So does this season have some bite to it? These 6 episodes range from seriously dark and twisted to scathing commentary about corporate greed to relationship regrets, all designed to captivate and then break us. Now, I'm going to stay away from spoilers, but know that you can watch these in any order you choose. This is an anthology, none are tied together. Just to give you a smattering of who all appears this season, we got Chris O'Dowd, Rashida Jones, Paul Giamatti, Peter Capaldi, Tracee Ellis Ross, Cristin Milioti, Billy Magnussen, Will Poulter, Issa Rae, Awkwafina, Emma Corrin, Jimmi Simpson, and Siena Kelly. It's a stacked cast, and each of them get the opportunity to deliver some powerful or moving scenes. Now, the first episode follows a couple who are facing a medical emergency, and after making a decision, find that they are now locked into a deal they didn't realize they were making. And while this is a sad and even horrifying relationship story, it also serves as a critique of corporate greed and how capitalism is not always what it's cracked up to be when it comes to healthcare and quality of life. Chris O'Dowd, Rashida Jones, and Tracee Ellis Ross star, and the dynamic shared between them, it's angering, frustrating, even sad. And there are elements from other Black Mirror episodes, or at least themes, that work their way in here, asking what a character is willing to do in order to accomplish or acquire something that's beyond their reach. The story isn't one that's going to leave you all happy and cheery, but the acting is spectacular. Now, in the second episode, we have a food-themed sci-fi that goes from mildly bizarre and strange to bat crap crazy. The central character, played by Siena Kelly, works for a food manufacturer in their R&D department, coming up with some new healthy snacks. And when someone she knew from many years before enters her work life, her world begins to make less and less sense, creating a fear that she might be losing her grasp on reality. This was a fun episode because all of the clues to what is happening are right there in front of us, but they're obscured so well that the puzzle of how and why the oddities are occurring remain a mystery for quite some time. There's also an explosive conclusion to this, and it isn't overly sad, but it is happy in a delusional sort of way. Sounds fun, right? Well, it is. Issa Rae, Emma Corrin, and Awkwafina star in the third episode that looks at a new technology for revamping and reimagining older movies with current stars. I mean, so much of this is presented in black and white, and that makes it have a Twilight Zone aesthetic to it, being mildly creepy, but also incredibly emotional and stirring. Now, for anybody that uses woke as an insult, this episode is going to trigger you on multiple fronts, so stay mad. The storyline is very sweet, and it has a certain tragicness to the arc, making us ponder the question of what dictates emotional connection, and is it even a real thing? And if it is, what defines it? While the story isn't a hopeless one, it's pretty melancholy at the conclusion, despite having a small glimmer of happiness and hope. Peter Capaldi takes the lead in the fourth episode, playing a long-haired, jittery man named Cameron, who, after being arrested for attempted shoplifting and being suspected of murder, he regales the police with a long story about how he came across a new sort of video game that encompassed his entire life. Now, part of this is a sad story, because as we watch the younger version of himself live in this world, he's extremely timid and has just about zero confidence when he's in front of people. When writing, though, or alone with his computer and games, he has a strong sense of purpose and thrives. Will Poulter plays a computer game programmer who makes a prototype game available to the young Cameron, stating that it is going to change everything. And this is sort of like our first foray into augmented reality, except instead of wearing special goggles or other tech, the game takes on a life of its own. This quickly becomes a morality play, showcasing what can happen when those who don't value life get access to this game. Kind of like Lawnmower Man. But the overall arc is pretty predictable, which I think is a little bit of a bummer. But what disappointed me the most in this episode is the ending. The dialogue builds us up for what might be coming, and then once we start to get a payoff, the screen goes to credits. I mean, sure, we can infer what comes next, but to take us along on this journey, questioning motives and principles, to then tease what might be without fully resolving it, it felt a lot like for this particular story, they had an intriguing concept, but didn't know how to showcase what had been building. And it's not like this is a waste of time as an episode, because Capaldi is strange and funny. I mean, he's not really creepy, just a bit unhinged and skittish, but with excellent wit. Episode 6 is one of my favorites, and it's also the most sparse of the season. Paul Giamatti stars along with Patsy Ferran, and if you enjoy Giamatti when he gets to sink into character and just deliver emotionally powerful monologues, this one is it. The tech that's showcased for the story, it's both wildly imaginative and then also somewhat freaky. This small disc is placed on your temple, and then it accesses your memories, even using photographs to reconstruct three-dimensional spaces so that if a memory is fuzzy, you can walk around in it and try and fill in the pieces. So that aspect, it's cool, and it works to move the story along with some good context. But the real power comes from Giamatti. And he's grumpy and mad for so much of the episode, reliving a hurtful moment all over again with somebody in his past. The nuance that he creates for the character, it's moving and touching. And even when I wasn't liking him much, his presence was remarkable. From raspy whispers that just drip with sadness to explosive outbursts that reveal an inner devastation, each time he spoke his lines, I was just mesmerized. But I also love that we go on a journey of feelings with the character. He's not static, making him even more appealing to watch. And this episode could very much be a stage play. I mean, there are limited set pieces, and what we do see is only fragments of memories. They look amazing too. I mean, the effect going from what appears to be a 2D image into a 3D image, it was impressive, especially because most of the time, this isn't CGI or some other effect. It was just well-placed sets and then creative camera placements. And the episode, it's one of the shorter ones, at about 45 minutes, but the storytelling packs in a cohesive and impactful arc in that short amount of time. And you should definitely make time to watch this episode, if for no other reason than Paul Giamatti's performance. And finally, the episode I'm sure many Black Mirror fans are most looking forward to, it's the sequel to the Star Trek-like story, USS Callister, Into Infinity. Now, this is like a feature-length movie, clocking in at close to 90 minutes. And the original cast is back with Cristin Milioti, Jimmi Simpson, Billy Magnussen, Issa Rae, Milanka Brooks, Paul G. Raymond, and Jesse Plemons. Now, the story picks up a little bit after Robert Daly went a bit haywire and then ended up dead. But now, the ones that are still on the ship, they're trapped with a worldwide pool of gamers. And if the crew dies, they're gone for good. And this gives us a good amount of time, both inside the game and out in the real world, balancing the personalities of both really well. I mean, some are pretty much identical. Billy Magnussen, he's dim no matter where we see him, which is really funny. But Cristin Milioti is confident in the game, while being hesitant and insecure in the real world. And when we see the characters interact with the game, especially with other gamers, it feels like we're watching some kind of live-action Fortnite, or maybe Free Guy. The avatars we see can be all tatted up and tough-looking, but when we hear their voice, we instantly know there's some 13-year-old teenager with a squeaky voice who's projecting how they wish they were, but they can't be. Now, like all the other stories and the first USS Callister, this story has a level of darkness at the center that just loves to showcase this terrible side of humanity. It also shows us how clones, while being replicas of the original, don't necessarily have to share the same temperament or mindset, allowing the clone to actually be a better version of the source. I loved the urgency that was created within this episode. Because the crew is stuck and the game is run on credits to make upgrades or repairs or even progress faster, the crew has zero way of earning or buying credits, instead having to resort to a kind of piracy, which causes its own set of fun issues. Now, the graphics for this episode, I thought they looked amazing. The space segments are bright and vivid, showcasing this mix of real space and a brilliant and radiant array of colors that a video game can create. And not to be outdone by its predecessor, this story leaves us with unexpected outcomes, leaving us to decide if the resolution is uplifting or depressing. So overall, the 7th season of Black Mirror, it's highly enjoyable, taking us to mildly dark places to examine the good and bad of human nature. Other seasons have most certainly been more effective in delving into the grim and ominous aspects of technology and how it can be corrupted, but this season works to provide emotionally resonant stories while also raising moral questions or providing scathing critiques. The special effects, set pieces, creative design, and camera tricks all work to create an immersive and sometimes freaky universe where far-fetched ideas plausibly become reality. Not every episode is as emotionally impacting as others, but each does offer a unique take on what could be as we further rely on technology. There's sex, no nudity, a lot of profanity, and a bunch of violence. I give Season 7 of Black Mirror 4.5 out of 5 couches. I would like to know how you would rank this season. I'd probably go in order from most to least favorite. Number 1, 6, 5, 3, 2, and then 4. Let me know your ranking, though, in the comments below. Or, at least, which episode was your favorite. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.